Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtotara Sata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtotara Sata Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki. Iskcon Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki. Ganga Mai Ki. Yamuna Mai Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Tulsi Devi Ki. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Such an intense burst of young prophet. Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Your hair is matching your sari today. The red in your hair is matching your sari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Need the mercy. Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Oh Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachadi Yamunatira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Or Premanande and Yaribo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nasta Preshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. So we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is starting the 7th canto. We'll be studying chapter 1, text 12. 7.1.12. So we've been away from the Krishna House curriculum, 6th, 7th canto for some time now. So does anyone remember what we ended off with in the 6th canto? The last major pastime. As far as my recollection, it rhymes with Mitra Betu. I believe so. There could be something after, but as far as I remember, that was the last major happening. We're in the midst of demon killing. They said the 6th canto was demonstrating Krishna's protection aspect. So there's a lot of defense against the dark arts in these sections. We saw at the beginning of the 6th canto, a Jamil. He was a sinful person getting dragged away by the hounds of hell. And the Lord stepped in just because he chanted Narayan. And then later we saw a devotee, he got cursed. You kind of arguably fair, unfair. But anyway, he accepted it, ended up in a demon's body, fought the demigods, still was protected by the Lord. Here we are in the 7th canto, which demonstrates what form? Shingadev. This is the canto where the Lord appears with his mouth and mane sprinkled with drops of blood, his fierce eyes full of anger were impossible to look at, licking the edge of his mouth with his tongue. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Nrsingadev resembled a lion that has just killed an elephant. Hare Krishna. So this is our Lord. When necessary, he takes protective measures and annihilates all interferences. So sometimes devotees would ask, should we worship Ganesh before our puja? In India, this is a common practice. Ganesh is the remover of obstacles. So before they would do some worship, they would do a little bit to Ganesh to make sure it goes okay. And Prabhupada said, not necessary, worship Nrsingadev. He can remove all of the obstacles. He rips apart the demoniac tendencies in our heart. So this canto primarily focuses on that. There's some introduction prelude in the beginning chapters. But an interesting question is brought up. In this chapter, the question of, is God impartial? Is he equal to everyone? Because after all these pastimes, Maharaj Parikshit asks, well, it seems like he's always taking the side of the demigods. It seems like he's always helping them out. He's coming in to save the day and, slash the demons. What's up with that? Isn't he impartial? Isn't everyone his children? Why is he taking the side of one? And it seems a little unfair. If they always have God on their side, they're going to win. It's like there's no hope for the demons. What's all about that? So Shukadeva Goswami says, yes, that's a very good question. And then this chapter he explains the impartiality of God and how we see differences in the material world. Some people born with the silver spoon in their mouth. Some people born on the streets in rags. Some people achieve all of their desires. Some people things just come to without them even trying. Some people, after so much hard effort and slaving away and deep determination, they still don't get it. Some people win, some people lose. So where is God in all of this? Is he taking sides? Is he impartial? What's going on here? So this chapter is about Krishna and his killing of the demons and why he does what he does. So one time the devotees asked Prabhupada, why does Krishna come to kill the demons? And Prabhupada said, to keep the body fit. So actually Krishna is very soft, he's very loving, he's Rasa Raja Murti. He's the literal form of rasa. He's like the personification of loving exchanges, of sweetness, of melting your heart. If you personify the experience of your heart being melted by the qualities of someone, that is the Lord our God, Sri Krishna. And so actually his killing of the demons is not so important, or it's for the sake of sporting. It's for the sake of those loving exchanges. It's an experience, it's a pastime, it's something we can talk about, it's something we can glorify, something we could, wrap our heads around and get behind and rah. So everything Krishna does is based out of love. It contains a very deep element of sweetness, of purity, of spiritual enlivenment. It brings you up, it makes you feel good, it inspires you, it makes you feel safe, makes you feel encouraged, it makes you feel purposeful, there's a direction, he's showing the way. Even when he does tough things like Ram and Sita, it's showing the way. So, without further ado, I'd like to go to our verse. You could chant responsively. Yasa esha rajana pikala ishita. Yasa esha rajana pikala ishita. Does anybody, can you find it? Yasa esha rajana pikala ishita. Yasha isha rajana pikala ishita. Say it. Ya isha rajana pikala ishita. Thank you, Prabhu. Satvam suranikam ivaidyayattaha. Tad pradnayikana saransura priyo. Rajas tamaskan praminodyorushravaha. Yaisha rajana pikala ishita. Satvam saranikam ivaidyayattaha. Tad pratyanikana saransura priyo. Rajas tamaskan praminodyorushravaha. Please chant. Ya isha rajana bikala ishita. Satvam saranikam ivaidayatyaha. Tad pratnagikana suransura priyo. Rajas tamaskan brahminodyorushravaha. Yesha rajana pikala ishita. Satvam saranikam ivaidayatyaha. Rajastamaskan Brahminotyudushavaha. Yaisha Rajana Pikalaishita Satvam Saranikani Vaijayatyataha Tad Pratnaikana Suransura Priyo Rajastamaskan Brahminotyudushavaha. Yaisha Rajana Pikalaishita Satvam Saranikami Vaijayatyataha Dadpratnalikana Suransura Priyo Rajastamaskan Brahminotyudushavaha. Yesha Rajana Pikalishita Satvam Saranikami Vaidyayatyataha Tat Pratyanikana Suransura Priyo Rajastamaskan Brahminotyudushavaha. Good? Word for word? Did you want to sing, Kirsten? You want to sing? Yeah. Which, Aisha, this, Rajan, O king, Alpi, even, Kala, time, Ishita, supreme lord, Satwam, mode of goodness, Sura Anikam, numbers of demigods, Eva, certainly, Yati, causes to increase. Ataha, hence. Tat Pratyanikan, inimical to them. Asaran, demons. Sorapriya, being the friend of the demigods. Rajatamaskan, covered by passion and ignorance. Praminoti, destroys. Urushravaha, whose glories are widespread. Translation. O king, this time factor enhances the sattva guna. Thus, although the Supreme Lord is the controller, he favors the demigods, who are mostly situated in sattva guna. Then the demons, who are influenced by tamaguna, are annihilated. The Supreme Lord induces the time factor to act in different ways, but he is never partial. Rather, his activities are glorious. Therefore, he is called Urushravaha. Please repeat. O king, this time factor enhances the sattva guna. Thus, although the Supreme Lord is the controller, he favors the demigods, who are mostly situated in sattva guna. Then the demons, who are influenced by tamaguna, are annihilated. The Supreme Lord induces the time factor to act in different ways, but he is never partial. Rather, his activities are glorious. Therefore, he is called Urushrava. Someone want to read the purport?
Purport. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9:29, Samoham sarvabhuteshu na me dveshyo stina priyaha. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. The Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be partial. He is always equal to everyone. Therefore, when the demigods are favored and the demons killed, this is not his partiality, but the influence of the time factor. A good example in this regard is that an electrician connects both a heater and a cooler to the same electrical energy. The cause of the heating and cooling is the electrician's manipulation of the electrical energy according to his desire. But factually, the electrician has nothing to do with causing heat or cold, nor with the enjoyment or suffering that results.
Next reader. Oh.
There have been many historical incidents in which the Lord killed a demon, but the demon attained a higher position by the mercy of the Lord. Putana is an example. Putana's purpose was to kill Krishna. Aho Bhakiyam Stana Kala Utanam. She approached the house of Nanda Maharaja with the purpose of killing Krishna by smearing poison on her breast. Yet when she was killed, she attained the highest position, achieving the status of Krishna's mother. Krishna is so kind and impartial that because he sucked Putana's breast, he immediately accepted her as his mother. This superfluous activity of killing Putana did not diminish the Lord's impartiality. He is Suhridam Surva Bhuktanam, the friend of everyone. Therefore, partiality cannot apply to the character of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who always maintains his position as the Supreme Controller. The Lord killed Putana as an enemy, but because of his being the Supreme Controller, she attained an exalted position as his mother.
Sri Madhava Muni therefore remarks, Kale kale vishay pishita dehadi karanatvat surenikam eva stitam satvam. Ordinarily, a murderer is hanged, and in the Manu Samhita it is said that a king bestows mercy upon a murderer by killing him, thus saving him from various kinds of suffering. Because of his sinful activities, such a murderer is killed by the mercy of the king. Krishna, the supreme judge, deals with matters in a similar way because he is the supreme controller. The conclusion, therefore, is that the Lord is always impartial and always very kind to all living entities.
Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So this verse is spoken by Shukadeva Goswami in response to Maharaj Parikshit's question. Krishna is always siding with the demigods, and he's always killing the demons. So is he impartial or is he partial? What's up with that? And in this verse and several others in this chapter, Shukadeva Goswami basically responds, it is the time factor that moves everyone to their inevitable destination. Right? So the material universe is moved by time. That in the beginning of the material universe is just elements, it's just energy. And when Mahavishnu starts the time factor, when time begins, motion begins. And we can see this in our own lives. Just try to sit in one place for hours at a time. It's impossible. There's always something to do. It's becoming lunchtime, it's becoming dinner time, it's becoming breakfast time, it's becoming sleep time, it's becoming time for my meeting, it's becoming time for school. It's always time. It's time for something. I'm watching the clock. It's time for the class to end. It's time for the class to start. It's time. It's time. Time forces us to act. And then how we act is dependent on who we are, what qualities we have. So Krishna says in this verse that the demigods are those persons whose quality, whose consciousness is imbued with sattva gun. That means goodness. That these people are called demigods because they're made up of goodness. In their heart is goodness. In their mind is goodness. Their actions are goodness. So, what's the natural quality of goodness? Well, it's described goodness maintains, it sustains. When someone's in a state of satisfaction, they can stay where they are. If someone's in a state of satisfaction, they can keep doing what they're doing. They have no desires to change, no desires to go somewhere else. One time Prabhupada said, you Americans, your disease is that you're always changing. You're always building, breaking, transforming, making, studying, staking, and flaking, ultimately. So that's because this modern society, especially in the Western world, is very much imbued with passion. Passion means churning, agitation, work. Hare Krishna. It means you're not settled, you're not satisfied, you're always wanting more. There's got to be something more. Let me make 5,000, let me make 10,000, let me turn it to 100,000, 1,000,000, trillion, zillion, quadrillion, fulfillion. Let me become bigger than God. That's passion. Naturally, when that energy, this is an energy, when that energy is present, that's how we experience it. And similarly, ignorance, that's the third of the three modes. Ignorance means inertia, slow, destruction, like degrading, decay, that kind of feeling where you're just like sinking down. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to exist. You don't want to speak. You don't want to not speak. You don't want to be looked at. You don't want to be seen. You don't want to be spoken to. You don't even want to exist. That's ignorance. It's sinking. It's low. It's wilting. When you see the flower like curling up, that's the quality of ignorance. It's everywhere. Everything material has these three qualities in different mixtures. They're all present. And they naturally act. So when something's blooming, that's the quality of passion. That energy is there, forcing it to grow, to expand, to become great, beautiful. And then when it's in the middle stage, it's staying, that's goodness. It's predominating at that time. And then when it starts to die, then ignorance rears its head. So it said with Sadasad Yoni Janmasu that these three qualities are fighting for dominance in all of us all the time, every second. It's sometimes goodness is taking predominance, sometimes passion is taking predominance. So we go through ups and downs and spells like this. You wake up in the morning, it's like, oh my God, and you gotta get yourself going, and then you kind of you're good, and then the day starts pumping up, and you got to get in the swing of things, and then you start winding down. So it's natural. These things are there. And every person has a different combination, just like infinite colors. These three primary energies, they make up infinite combinations. And these qualities change within us over time. We can develop more goodness in us by the things we eat, by the things we hear, by the people we hang around. The energy is both within and without. Everything around it is imbued with these qualities. So we get to pick and choose. What qualities do I want to be a part of? What do I want to shape my experience with? That's in our prerogative. So you'll see those people who are more in goodness, they will sustain their vitality. you ever see a lifelong brahmachari, they're radiating. They don't have many wrinkles, you know, the skin is nice. I mean, if you see there's like some, like, I don't know, I'm just picturing some Prabhu in India, I forget his name, but it's just like, Shamananda, he lives in Michigan now. Shamananda Prabhu, he's, I don't know, like 50 or something, but he looks like he's 25. I mean, it was shocking when I heard. So there's ojas, it's vitality. You have this energy within you. It keeps you up. Similarly, people who eat a lot of meat and, you know, drink heavy, you know, they die. It kills them slowly. So these qualities are there and they act automatically. It is what it is. You know, if I pour this water on you, you're going to feel wet. That's just what it does. You know, if I light you on fire, you're going to be hot. That's what it does. It's fire. That's what it means. If it didn't get you hot, it wouldn't be fire. So the same thing, if ignorance is present, it's going to bring you down. That's what it does. No matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, if ignorance is there, it's going to... You're going to get sleepy. You're going to fall over. You're going to, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to do. This is lame. I don't like this. That's ignorance. That's what it does. Same thing, goodness is perky, you're present, you're lively, you're strong, you're holding yourself nicely, there's vitality there, you're present, you're, you know, nice. That's what it does. So Krishna is saying that by your qualities, your destination is more or less fixed. This is how we can tell the future. I can see your habits, I can see what you do, I can see what you're attracted to, and more or less chart out a certain trajectory of your life. Because these energies are infallible, they're laws of nature. You know, if you surround yourself in a certain environment, doing certain activities, you're going to go in a certain direction. Everybody. From the transcendental people down to the ignorant people. It's charted out, it's there, it's a science, it's a law, it's impartial. So these demigods, they went out constantly. Why? Because they're goodness, they're righteous, they're of the energy that prevails. It's a superior way of living. If you ever see someone who's happy, who's enthusiastic, they'll attract your mind. They'll make you want to follow them just by their energy that they carry. It's like, yeah, this person is awesome. This feels good. They're doing something. They're happy with their life. There's a direction. I want to go. And if someone's moping and they're kind of drooping and they don't want, you know, to look at them, it's like it's a lower energy. You feel it, you know. This person's more powerful. They sustain. They're going to last. The truth lasts. Goodness lasts. Goodness will prevail. So from the outside looking in, it could seem like, hey, these guys are always getting the luck of the draw and those guys are always losing. But Krishna is saying, I'm impartial. I've created this world to do what it does, and you have the independence to play with it how you want to. And they give the example of the electrician. The electrician's just pumping energy into the air conditioning system. And it's up to the person to hot or cold. So Krishna's like the electrician. He's imbuing everyone. He says, Kames taister vrita jnana. It means that those who want to worship the demigods, I make their faith strong in that worship. Those people who want to be materialistic, I give them the intelligence to be materialistic. He says the super soul is telling the thief from his heart what house to go steal from. And the super soul is telling the householders in their heart to lock their door from thieves. So Krishna is impartial. He's giving us knowledge. He's giving us the strength to fulfill it. He's giving us the support from outside in. Ye yatam mam prapadyante tams tataiva bhajamyaham. That as I approach the Lord, as I put in the front of my mind, this is how He responds to me. That our experience is a mixture of what we deserve and what we desire. It's a mixture of what we deserve and what we desire. What we've done in the past, we're reaping the effects of that. And at the same time, we still have complete independence to choose our course of direction from here on out. So even though I'm receiving the momentum of my past activities, the momentum of my subtle body, the fact that I struggle to control my mind, the fact that certain triggers really just tick my bones, that I get angry at these things, or I'm insecure around these situations, or these types of people really just I don't gel with, I'm unsure about them, I don't like them. All of that is coming from the past, and we can't ignore it. It's present, it's there, it affects us. It's part of the makeup that we're dealing with. But we at all times and all places have the facility, the ability, the prerogative, the power to choose in that moment, yes, I feel this thing, but I'm going to act this way. Yes, you make me uncomfortable, and I don't even know why, but I'm still going to choose to respect you. I'm still going to choose to trust the Lord in all situations. So it may be awkward, it may be difficult, in fact, it will be. But I have that ability to reroute the course of my subtle momentum, to reroute the trajectory that I'm heading. These things are momentous. You can see if someone is stuck in the potato chip cycle, where their only exercise is from the couch to the fridge to the bathroom, it's hard for them to do anything else. In the same way, if someone's like on an eternal juice fast, I knew people in Gainesville where they would juice fast for like 72 days. I mean, they ran a juice company, and it was like their whole thing. Like, they just talked about juicing almost 24/7. But it's like, for them, they couldn't think about eating junk food. It was like, no. Like, you rather inject me with poison than give me that, you know? Like, it was impossible for them to think about anything that wasn't of that highest degree. So it's momentous. We're coming in with that. The things that we're attracted to, we're coming in with it. We can't choose it now. We chose it, you know. It's our responsibility. It's our fault, or it's because of what we've done that we're attracted to those things, that we're in this situation. But at the current moment, I can't choose to not be attracted to it. It's where I've been going for so long. But I can choose what I do with that attraction. I can choose what I do within that attraction. And that's where we call on the mercy of the Lord. That's where we call on the support of the Vaishnavas. That's where we call on the scriptures, our devotional practice, the knowledge that we've gathered, the faith that we've accrued, the spiritual experiences that we had. We call on those things to become different, so that we don't end up in destruction like these demons. Demons means those who are in lower modes, those who are inimical to goodness, those who are anti-goodness. They don't like that energy. They're opposed to that energy. And so to the extent that we're opposed to that energy, to that extent we're in a great danger. And you can see when there's purity around, when there's a very pure person, or there's a very pure situation going on, if we're attracted to that, that's a good sign of our advancement. If we're repulsed by that, that's something we can notice and recognize. Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Giridhari ki jai, Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Shri Shri Nitai Chaitanya Chanda Nita Gaura Chanda ki jai, Iskcon Guru Vrinda ki jai. So by the time factor, we are forced to act. And by our qualities, we are forced to act in a particular way. So there's no stopping action. And there's really no stopping acting how our qualities are. There's really only a change of quality. That's where we come in. Changing our quality by associating with higher qualities, associating with the transcendental sound vibration of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is purifying our soul. This is purifying our very being. Every fiber of who we are is becoming cleansed by this vibration. It sinks into our belly, it sinks into our gut, it sinks into our mind, and it clears up the muck. It is alive, it's a vibration, it's a quality, it's an energy, it's a way of life, it's a platform that we can exist on. And by letting it into us, it digs under that, and it gets to that transcendental part of ourself, and it pushes all of that other crap away. And from the inside out, we change our quality over time, so that when time forces us to act as it always does, what naturally comes out is pure. That's it. That's all we can do. And in the meantime, we tolerate what's not pure. And we beg every day the forgiveness of the devotees for being impure in their association. There's nothing we can do. It's the pitiable situation that we're in, that, look, I'm filthy and I'm doing my best, but still I'm forced to act in this filthy way because it's in me. It's in me. I've done this to myself. And I'm begging my way out, and it's happening. And it's happening to all of us simultaneously. It's like an ayahuasca purge. I don't know if you've ever seen those or heard of that, but they get together and they take this liquid drug. It's a plant. And what it does is, like 12 hours, it just rips you to shreds. Like literally, you're puking. I mean, it's nasty, but you're going through supposedly like the lower modes of yourself. You're being forced to face these things, and it's coming out in these vile ways. That's like a subtle, gross connection that as you give up these parts of yourself, you literally physically give them up in like gross ways. And it's always in a group, or when you do it like with a shaman intentionally, it's always in a group. And you do it together, because when you see other people going through it, it empowers you. It's an energy. It's an energy. And at the end of it, you feel like it's like support. So we're lucky that we've been blessed by Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya, that we can purge ourselves in a much more beautiful, splendid, exciting way. But don't be fooled. It's a purge. It's a purge. When we chant Hare Krishna, when we dance in the kirtan, when we sing hallelujah, it's a purge. When we listen to the Srimad Bhagavatam, when we speak with devotees, when we reveal our hearts, when we take chastisements, when people correct us, when we choose to focus to the holy names, it's a purge. It's getting the gunk out of us by letting the holy names be the prominent thing in our consciousness. When we choose that spiritual vibration, we're also choosing not material vibrations, and our quality changes. And then we don't have to worry about what's good action, what's bad action. We don't have to worry about doing the right thing or thinking my way through etiquette and all of that other stuff that we're doing in the beginning to try and control our minds so that we don't, make a big disturbance. You don't have to think about those things anymore. It's just who you are. Time makes you move, and your quality makes you move a certain way. So we focus on the quality, and we beg forgiveness for all of the impure qualities that we currently have and are getting rid of. But it's a simple process because of that. Like we were reading this morning, you just chant. You just keep chanting attentively, faithfully with your heart. Lots of feelings churning in the heart. The labor of love. It's so beautiful. It's like that. It's like that. We're being moved. We're being faced with resistance so that we could churn, so that we can choose, so that we can dig. These obstacles, these resistance, the people that we feel insecure around, the external obstacles, all of the infighting, politicking, all of that, it's to give us a chance to dig. It's an opportunity to dig. Because at the end of the day, all that stuff's going to go away, because that stuff's of lower modes. It's going to destroy. It's gone. It's material. Bye. We're not going to remember any of this when we're gone. We're probably not going to remember any of these people when we're gone. But what we will have with us is our quality of consciousness. So at the very least, I can dig. I can just chant, I could just pray, I can just know that Krishna, you're purifying me, you're all good, I want to be with you, I want to be pure, I realize that life without you is just terrible, I don't like it here, I want to serve, I don't want to be God anymore, you're way better than it, I want to be your servant. I just think about that every time, every place that I go, everyone that I'm talking to, I want to be your servant, God, and you're in my heart, and I'm speaking to you right now. Please purify me. Please bring me back home. I want to be your servant again. Whatever else happens, I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's going to go away. So I'm here to work on my quality, and I know you guys are here to work on your quality, so let's just work on our qualities together. And we won't be destroyed. The Lord will be very pleased with us. So we'll see coming up how Prahlad Maharaj, he so wonderfully exemplifies this. He said that he was so fixed in his meditation on God that he didn't even know when he was standing up and when he was sitting down. He said that Krishna took over all of his bodily necessities. He's like, I don't even know when I took lunch, who cooked, or it's like, I'm not hungry. It's like that. That's a very high platform, but we get that example. And we see what happens, even though he's being physically attacked. People are trying to kill him. They're stabbing him with spears and stomping. We'll get to that. You see how he's completely undisturbed. Because it's him and Krishna. It's him and Krishna. This is what the Lord wants to do to me, and who am I to say that there's a better way? So at the very least, I can focus on that transcendental quality and just try my best to keep it a part of my consciousness. Because that's the only way out of this mess. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any reflections? Come on.
Okay, I got a question for you.
Okay.
So I understand the time factorness, like with your qualities, you usually decide to follow your qualities and that whole jazz. But what about when Krishna comes himself to kill the demons? How is that not partial? Like, he came himself, you know?
Yeah, very nice, very nice. So Krishna, sometimes he comes to kill, he comes to fight, personally. And it's said here in the purport, this is one explanation, that whoever is touched by the Lord attains immediate liberation. They're purified in that instant. He's so pure. He's the most pure. I forget the verse. Anyhow. Another thing is, subset of that point is that people who have committed atrocities, they need to pay for it to be free of that energy. They give the example of the murderer being hanged. So in Vedic society, capital punishment was not only present, it was glorified. Because the person who did something horrible, they're going to face that atrocity at some point in time. So if you kill them for it, when they take birth again, they're freed of that energy. That they can take birth in a higher state of consciousness. They don't have to carry that with them. Whereas if you don't kill them, they carry that consciousness, that murderer consciousness that energy goes with them, that karma goes with them. They're forced to live like just a very degraded lifestyle because of that heaviness, that ignorance. So it's a great act of compassion. Secondly, the people that Krishna fights are not ordinary people. Anyone who got to see Krishna, that's not an ordinary person. They're there, it's deep, it's complex, there's so many things going on. So another part of it always is the Leela. It's sort of a cop-out, but this is Krishna's, special thing. Is that okay? Another thing is, Krishna He wants to give us things to talk about. His program is to attract us. Krishna never forces, but he attracts us. He does things that are very wonderful, very beautiful. They're always like IMAX, blockbuster style play. You know, he comes as the boar and the earth's in the ocean. He's got to fight the demon and lift it up from the ocean. It's like super epic and all this. The Shringadev, you know. So he does it also to attract our minds. Yeah, very easily, forest fire, boom, they're all dead like that. But he comes to make a fight out of it, you know, so we can say, oh, there's my Lord, you know, he's coming for me. You know, Hiranyakashipu could have just dropped dead, like, no problem. But he burst out of the pillar and he fought him and he ripped him apart, and it was like this whole thing, because he gets to exchange that with Prahlad. He gets to exchange that with the other devotees. We get to read about it. It becomes a thing now. It was also Krishna's mercy to us to reveal himself, to like present, like, hey, here I am, this is what I do, you know. Those are some reasons. Okay. Anybody else? Gora?
You already quoted the verse that he's just, as all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. How Krishna's kind of just reciprocating with our desires. And yeah, as you mentioned also, I like the point that these demons that saw Krishna, they were actually really exalted personalities.
Yeah.
So there's like a special, like, there's a deeper like relationship there.
Yeah.
Typically, but most of the time it's like people who are just demoniac, who don't really want to think about God at all. He doesn't reveal himself. He just lets them be, and then the modes of nature just take over, and eventually they're killed by him in his agency as time. So it's just kind of mopping things up through that energy, through the material modes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually an interesting point to consider, that the opposite of love is not hate, it's apathy. The opposite of love is nothing. Hate is in the brain, they're very side by side. It's a minimal margin in terms of psychology, brain waves that decide the emotion of love and the emotion of hate. It's like neck and neck. They're very close, because it's an intensity of emotion. If you get really angry at someone, you get really hateful about it, it's because you care about it. It's very real. So these I'm gonna call them like super demons. These ones that we real, they're like, you know, and they do a bunch of Christian. It's like, I mean, they're close to the Lord. And really, the farthest persons are the ones that don't even consider his existence. The ones that just, it's just not even there. And for those persons, like Gora said, he shows his back to them in the form of material energies. It's automated. You know, their experience, they're just interacting with the modes of nature. Their qualities are interacting with other qualities. They're chasing the attractions of the mind, and they're getting karma back. It's just, they're asleep. That's how it's described. The actual soul, the actual person's asleep in that body, and the material energy is carrying them along as if they were seated on a machine. That's what the Bhagavad Gita says. That these heavily materialistic, the atheists, the people that don't even consider the Lord at all, like it's not even, they're just like absorbed in TikTok and all this other stuff. They're just like, God, that's not a thought in their mind ever about good or perfection or right and wrong. It's just, they're just like trying to get laid or something, you know. They are on a machine. They're not even awake. They're not even acting. It's not even them. It's not the person. Like, it's literally, it's just a machine. It's like a robot almost. So it's the devotee's job to wake them up through presenting transcendental vibration, through knowledge, through prasadam. Like that, yeah.
I was going to connect a few points.
Right.
Was you're talking about how, in the beginning, how outside of the mode of goodness, you're bouncing from one thing to the next, kind of moving around or being forced in that way. Mm-hmm. But there's a clip I have of Srila Prabhupada saying that as long as you're not reading his books, you'll continue to be restless, going from, said, Tokyo, Japan, or India, Japan, all these different places, trying to find that situation that's just going to satisfy you. So until we actually take to hearing Srila Prabhupada's books, we're going to be restless and unable to be steady. And another place Srila Prabhupada quotes or says in his purport, this is 6:17-19 of Srimad Bhagavatam. He says that we must therefore promote, or he says, one must therefore promote himself to the stage of goodness through his character and behavior. So it's like by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, we're hearing the example of the proper character and behavior by which one can transcend the modes of nature, actually come to the mode of goodness and become elevated spiritually. It's by hearing, we actually cultivate these qualities. We're associating with these personalities, and we're right there with them when we hear from them.
Sure.
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, that was so nice. It reminds me of the quote, before Krishna conscious, you become conscious. That we take an active role in slowing down the momentum of our subtle body by being conscientious. Like Petita was saying, not only do we associate with the transcendental vibration, which is the ultimate cure. We'll never be free of this impurity until we really get thoroughly cleansed by the imbibing of the Srimad Bhagavatam and the holy names. Just letting that sink into us. They said these messages are virtuous in and of themselves to be chanted and heard. It's just the vibration of it. Just hearing the sound enter my being is itself a spiritual activity. We could just put it on and listen and just let it. We don't even have to understand fully. I mean, like, be attentive to it, but just like, it's like a shower for the soul. And it really feels like that. And at the same time, connect to it through character and behavior. Thank you so much for that point. Anybody else? Samant Prabhu? Get him a mic.
Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful class, and you spoke with your so intense. So that was very nice. It reminds me that it's somewhere it is said that Dharmo Rakshati Rakshita. Dharma protects the one who protects Dharma. So that's a rule. And on absolute platform, because the Lord is on absolute platform, killing and saving both are good.
Right.
Because when we say good, we have to see the good from a reality perspective. And the reality is we are not this body. The reality is we are spirit soul. So if reality is we are spirit soul, then see the definition of good from the eye which says from the perspective of soul. What is good for the soul?
Right.
So just like rain falling. So sometime one or 2 years before rain, water was stopped coming in the pipeline and devotee was struggling for the water. So then it started raining. So both the devotee put the bucket in the backyard. After a few minutes they were talking. One devotee say, "Oh, I got 2 buckets of water." Other devotee say, "Oh, I didn't get." He said, "Why? It's not raining at the right?" "No, it's raining." "Then why you didn't collect?" "No, my bucket is leaking." So demons and demigods are like that. Lord mercy is falling on both of them. But demigods, they have without leaking bucket, they collect. They have bigger receptacle. But demons, they are not. But Lord is so kind, by killing them, He is stopping the process of incurring more sin. And by that, those demons get liberated. Otherwise, those demons cannot liberate by their own effort.
Yeah.
See, Ravana wanted to build a staircase to the heaven. He said, "I cannot do any pious activity. I wanted to build a staircase so that I can go to heaven." But he was not successful. But when Ram killed, now where is Ravana's soul now? He is in Vaikuntha.
Wow.
So that killing was good or bad? It was good.
Yeah.
From that way. So in absolute platform, Krishna's killing and saving, they both are good for the soul.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
That's right. Any other points?
Thank you, Prabhu. It really touched me, spoke to me today. With with us trying to be sattvic, with us trying to encourage sattvic lifestyle, like bringing that out into the world. But it is the material world, and there is still going to be opposition to that. And just thinking, not pessimistically, but how can we still encourage ourselves, motivate ourselves to spread that motivation of we have to be sattvic, we want to be sattvic. But then on the other hand, like Krishna, if we are all sattvic, if we are all living that way, then what is our pastime with Krishna here in this material world?
Yeah, so the material world will always be the material world. Yeah, it's an infinite service. There's actually no end to the service of liberating the souls. One time in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, devotees know this one, Vasudeva Datta, he prayed that, Lord, I can't bear to see the suffering of the people of this world. Please give me all of their karmic reactions and let me suffer for as long as it takes, and you liberate them. He said, my dear Vasudeva, by your pure desire, they've already become liberated. Jai Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava Ki Jai, Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Giridhari Ki Jai, Shri Shri Nitai Chaitanya Chandra Nitai Gaura Chandra Ki Jai, Iskcon Guru Vrinda Ki Jai. So that everyone in the entire universe got liberated. And guess what happened? It filled right back up again. A whole new batch of souls ready to forget the Lord and try their hand at being God. So it's an infinite service, and will never stop the material world from existing. Because there has to be a place for people to go who want to forget Krishna. So that's not our job. Our job is not to stop the material world. Our job is, as Prabhupada would say, make the best use of a bad bargain. So first and foremost, it's for us to realize, okay, I see the reality now, I want to be a part of the reality, and go back to it. And at the same time, bring as much people as possible. And it's an eternal, there's infinite varieties to experience. Life is so damn huge. Huge. Anything is out there. It's so big. There's so many people doing so many different things. Forever. There's people that forever go through material universes just preaching. That's what they want to do. Is forever. They just preach. There's people that forever stay in this. There's people that go back and forth. It's infinite and it's blissful and it's open to our desires, our natural, like what we really want to do, what inspires us. That's the thing, is every devotee of the Lord is happy because they're doing what they think is important. So it's a big mistake to think that within our Iskcon Sangha, our small sample size of reality, of the big reality, it's a mistake to think that we're all going to want to serve the same way, or that we should all do the same thing, or to be surprised that different people have different moods and different projects and different ways of presenting Krishna consciousness, different things they want to do for the Lord, different ways. It's a big mistake to think that that's wrong, or to be surprised by it, because it's infinite. There's even more than that. There's even more devotees doing more things in different ways and different moods than what we see. So the thing is to connect and uncover what that is for us, and Krishna will help, and Krishna will help us find like-minded souls, and we do our service, and we're very happy, and it goes on forever. There's actually no end. There's no end goal. It's just life. You just exist. But you exist in increasingly more intimate love. That your intimacy, your authenticity, and your connection with other people just increases in its depth of understanding, its depth of intensity, its depth of intimacy and relishment. You become mad in love. That's what we're working for. There's no results, numbers, it's madness of love is what we're actually going for. That's the advancement, is that there's people in my life that make me just go crazy because I care about them so much. I'd do anything for this person. That's the spiritual world. So to do that, there's infinite scenarios that bring that out. There's suffering, there's fun, all that stuff, because it brings out that love, which is the real goal, the real reason for being, is that, they call it rasa, that like experience, that emotional experience. So that's why there's infinite experiences out there. There's infinite situations out there, and we're never going to destroy one completely, even if it's suffering. So we just increase our ability to relish love and help others do that. Is that okay? That's right. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. I dropped the pen.